Hey everybody, welcome to another action-packed, exciting episode of Scotty's Workshop. On this particular episode, as you've seen by the thumbnail and everything else, we're going to tackle the discography of the late, great Ozzy Osbourne, who, the reason that this has come up is we've just passed the 1 year mark of him passing away on the 22nd of July of last year, 2025. So a very sad day for sure for everybody. And I've been obviously hinting about this video in a couple of other videos, or not hinting, just flat out saying it's coming, and here it is. So before we get into it, I just want to say hello and welcome to the new subscribers. Every video we see, by the time we get to a new video, we always add a couple more people, and I always say it, and it doesn't really matter. Because I'm always going to keep saying it because it's the truth. I appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, and I've said this before too. Um, Comments, put them down here. This is my personal feelings on these albums. They're not yours. Your feelings are not wrong. Your thoughts or whatever, your rankings are not wrong. It's just how you perceive these albums. And honestly, like probably a lot of other people, my top echelon is going to be the early stuff. I'm 60 years old. I was a teenager when the early stuff came out. That was a part of my teenage years, and they mean more to me, and I just have that sentimental connection to them. Another thing too, I this is kind of goes without mentioning, but it's going to be mentioned. Some people, obviously, I'm visually impaired. Okay, I mean, I've got these super thick glasses. Uh, Vision certainly isn't what it used to be. So some people will hold up an album and go, and I like this track, and I like this track, and I like this track. I can't remember every track on every album. Um, so I just try to do an overview of what I feel about the album as a whole. I may mention a track or two that stands out, something like that. But that's why I do it. It's just it's a visual thing. I do the best I can with the limitation that I have. There it is. Okay, so I already said to a certain extent a little bit about Ozzy. I mean, I grew up with Black Sabbath. I mean, I remember that my brother getting, in the early '70s, we were getting the Black Sabbath albums as they were coming out. So, I grew up with this stuff. First album was Paranoid, and that had to have been about 70, 71 when he got that. Uh, I'm a little 4 or 5 year old kid back then. It was great. It was great. My brother was really cool. He turned me on to a lot of really great things. I miss him. Um, then obviously I'm a teenager and Ozzy's solo, and Ozzy's putting out some great music. Uh, then as the '80s wore on and we got into the '90s, honestly, I kind of lost track after No More Tears. I don't know. By the '90s, I was into other stuff. I'd kind of left metal. Metal had kind of, you know, gone someplace, and I wasn't really into grunge too much. So I was exploring a lot of older music. That was when I really started looking back at prog and things that I had missed that I didn't even know existed. So that's when my journey, backwards into the future sort of started. So I missed out on a lot of these um, albums. So fast forward, Sirius XM radio, Ozzy's Boneyard. I'm listening to it. I'm starting to get into metal a little more again. I kind of had left it behind. Like I said, I got to an age where I was like, dudes with perms, long hair and perms, wearing eyeliner, dressed in spandex, talking about kicking your ass. Kind of, I just found it more humorous, watching those old hair metal videos and things. But like I said, as of recently, I've kind of gotten into it a little more, listening to Ozzy's Boneyard over the last couple of years, and kind of picking up some of those albums that I didn't really care, didn't even know about, to be honest with you. Some of them I don't care for, and you'll see. But that's my journey with Ozzy. And of course, when he passed, or even before he passed, with the reunion thing, which was a couple weeks before he passed, his final show, really got into it a lot more. You know, I think a lot of people were really re-engaged with Ozzy, and then poof, he dies on us. But anyway, let's get into his theoretically, there's 13 albums. I didn't pull one back there, which is Undercover. Undercover is a covers album. And actually, the funny thing is, everybody ranks it at the bottom. I don't mind that album. I'm not a covers guy too much. He didn't bring anything overly new to any of the covers. It's just I like the songs he covered, you know, mountain songs and cream songs. And I thought that him and the band did a pretty damn good job. And I enjoy that album more than I enjoy the first couple three here that we're going to talk about, unfortunately. Okay, so let's get into it. So we're talking 12 studio albums. Okay, sorry for the long intro, but here we are. Okay, so this one ends up at everybody's bottom of their list. Not everybody. You know, a lot of people don't care for this album. And honestly, it was the last album that I picked up because I'd seen people's videos about it. Because when I started really getting into this again, I was like, I'm going to see because I don't know a lot of these albums, more recent albums. You know, at least from the late 90s and the early 2000s. Didn't know about them. So no one seems to care for this one too much. So it was the last one that I bought. And I get it. At the bottom for me, at number 12, is Scream. It's not for me. I know there are some people that really like this, and I think younger folks who are into new metal and stuff, I think they grasp onto this a little more, and I get it. I get it, but it just doesn't really do anything for me. And I really, honestly, like I said, the first three albums here, maybe even the first four albums, I listened to Undercover more. I mean, just because. So at number 12 is Scream. At number 11, same idea, maybe a little better, but is Black Rain. I don't know. I don't have a hell of a lot to say about these albums. I've listened to them multiple times because there are things that I don't dig the first time or I don't get. I'm like a lot of people, you know, I'll listen to it and it's like, oh, it's not for me. And in part, maybe sometimes it has to do with the mood that I'm in for that day. And so I don't want that to cripple my ability to like something. So I'll listen to something multiple times, even if I don't like it the first time necessarily, unless it's a type of music that I really, really like, rap or something. I don't like rap or hip hop. So I wouldn't, you know, there's no way I'm going to listen to a hip hop album 14 times and go, I like it. But with something like this, I wanted to give it a try. I've listened to these several times. It's just, again, maybe a little better than Scream, but yeah, you know, Black Rain. Down to Earth. Same thing. And the funny thing is, these are the ones that always end up most of the time at people's bottom. But again, if you're a younger person, like my kids, like my son loves Ozzy, and we gotta have this conversation at some point when I run into him. What he thinks of these three albums, because he's into new metal. He likes new metal more. And kind of, you know, just more, I should say new, but more modern sounding metal. He might dig these more than some of the older stuff. Who knows? But yeah, Black Rain, just it's okay. And if you love it, I'm happy for you. I really am. But that's at number 10 on my list. Number 9, this people put this a little lower, and I was tempted to put this a little lower because it's a weird album for Ozzy. Just Ordinary Man. I actually like the song Ordinary Man. It is kind of uncharacteristic. It's an Ozzy ballad. I mean, that's what it is. There's Post Malone stuff on here. I don't dig it. Ozzy and rap just don't work. There's quite a bit on this that really kind of doesn't work. I am glad that this was not his last album, because his last album, you'll see, is better. It is much better. There's some interesting things on here. As a whole, I don't like it that much, but in individual pieces, like certain songs, I like more than anything on these, for the most part. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So that's at number 9. Number 9. You got some glare here, don't you? Uh, you get Ordinary Man. Second to last. Second to last album. Okay. Getting into better stuff now. Now we're getting into stuff that maybe I don't like everything, but there are some standout tracks on here. Osmosis. Now, oddly enough, I did not know about this album until a couple of years ago. Really didn't know about this album. I know that some people who are longtime Black Sabbath fans are like, oh, there you go, or Ozzy fans. You're disqualified to talk about Ozzy. You didn't know about this. It's like, I'm sorry, but like I said, after No More Tears, I went into another direction. I just did. But there's some interesting stuff on here. Perry Mason, yeah. The lead-off track, great song. Great song. I wish the rest of the album would have lived up to that. There are moments on here that are not bad, okay? But I think maybe it's a little front heavy. Front loaded, there's the term that some people use. Maybe not. You know, like I said, there's some really, really outstanding tracks on this, and there are some, you know, but again, most everything that's on here, even if it's kind of, is still for me better than what would be on Screamer on the first 3 albums. I don't mean to keep coming back to these and crapping all over them. So, if you're a huge fan of those albums, I apologize. It's just like I said, it's where I'm at. But Osmosis, not bad, not great, but not bad. We're getting better. We're getting better. This was number 8, I believe. Osmosis from what, 1995, I think this came out? He'd taken a break, right? He'd taken a break. I do remember this. He was like, I'm going to retire. I'm done. This was after the No More Tears album. I'm done. I'm retiring. You know, he was pulling an Elton John or whatever. All these people retiring, last tour, big bucks. But I'm glad he came back. Okay, moving onward and upward. We get Ultimate Sin. This is one of these. I remember when this came out, radio was playing Shot in the Dark. Killer song. Love that song. Really love that song. And then, I mean, we're Ozzy fans. We all ran out and got the album. And I don't know what it is about this album, but it's just, I don't know. It's just not as good. It's just, you know, this came out what, 96? So we had Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman and Bark at the Moon, and then this. And like I said, when Shot in the Dark came out, because that was like the advanced single, and it was like, yeah, Ozzy's at it again. Oh goody! Now this is actually Ozzy's least favorite album out of everything he's ever did, from what I've read. Maybe it's the production. It's kind of, yeah. I don't know what it is about this album. If you figured it out, because a lot of people are saying the same thing about this album, and if you could express it for us in the comments, I mean, all of us would be greatly appreciative. You know, other than just writing "it sucks." Come on, but I don't know what it is about this. It just doesn't. There's a few good songs on here, but like I said, Shot in the Dark. Okay, that was number 7, right? I believe. I think so. Number 7. Maybe I'm actually counting these things correctly for a change, huh? The brain's going. You know what I mean? I'm theoretically off topic, but theoretically now I'm a senior. This is weird. How the hell did that happen? I went from this rock and roll party animal in the 80s to a senior. I don't get it. Semi-retired, working part-time, you know, living with my daughter and a bunch of cats. That's my life. And collecting a ton of music. Life is pretty good, actually. I know. I digress. But anyway. All right. Look at where his most recent album shows up for me. Patient number 9. Now, where Ordinary Man was a lot of not duets, but collaborations. There's the word I'm looking for. Was a lot of collaborations. Some of them just didn't work for me and for a lot of other people. This one, much better. Even the ones where you would think that it wouldn't work necessarily, like Eric Clapton, it works. It works pretty good. You get Tony Iommi back on here. The old boys back together again, And I just think I think I got a cat coming in here, maybe. Yes, I do. Anyway, so if you hear a door squeaking, that's what it is. Little guy's coming into the room, and now the door's shut. But anyway, maybe it's the ghost of Ozzy. Oh boy. Uh, Patient number 9. I'm so glad that he got a chance to make this before he died. A couple of years before he died, but still. Um, you know, not his greatest work. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, what, 5 albums here? 6 albums? 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Wait a minute, I'm all pissed. 5. 5. So this is 6. I was right. You know, still to be in the middle of his catalog in my liking, and so late in his career. Also with this, I gotta say, there was something weird about his voice on this. Now, his voice was aging, so I'm thinking that he got some digital help, possibly, auto-tune and things like that. And I'm sure that there was some of that on here, but oddly enough, even though this came out later than Ordinary Man, I find his vocals are better on here. They're certainly not what they were when he was Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, but still. Not a bad place to start if you're like, I kind of want to hear later day. Honestly, I'm gonna go on a limb here. If you want to hear latter day Ozzy from say mid '90s to today, okay, not including No More Tears. That's a great album, from '91. But after No More Tears, if you want to get introduced to later day Ozzy, start here. This is really good. So anyway, number 6, Patient number 9. Number 9. Number 9. Okay, speaking of No More Tears, these next 2 albums, when I was pulling these out today, I was like, I'm going to switch these. No, I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do this. And I'm still playing with it, so I'm going with it how I was. Okay, No More Tears. This was a really good album. Yeah, very polished. Mama, I'm Coming Home, No More Tears. Massive, massive. There's a song on here with Lita Ford, right? I believe that's on this album. Again, forgive me, I can't see, but pretty sure. Killer. Really, really good stuff from him. Yes, it's polished. You can even look, he's got that late 80s, early 90s. I'm really cool and badass, but I actually look like a girl kind of look. And not a very pretty girl either. Got to get rid of that 5 o'clock shadow. But that was the look. And, this came out at a really weird time. It came out right before the whole hair metal thrash had kind of gone away a little bit maybe, but before grunge came in and just wiped it all out and kind of made it tough to be a metal guy. This came out right before in '91. Great album, got a lot of airplay on radio. It did. I still enjoy this album. Yeah, it's late '80s, early '90s sounding, production wise, but it's a good album. So number 5, okay, number 5 for me, No More Tears. Okay, this is the album. These 2 I was back and forth, because here's the thing. I think the songs on this are better or more catchy, I guess. Would that be the word? But I think this album rocks. No Rest for the Wicked. From 88. After Ultimate Sin, it was like, uh-oh. And this came back. Again, some 80s production stuff, because we're talking late 80s. But we get the riffs back. We get the balls back here, in my opinion. Not as big as this. Really nothing on here as big as Shot in the Dark, even from Ultimate Sin. But I just think this is a good album. I don't know. And a lot of people kind of feel the same way I do, which is kind of weird. It's kind of nice when I kind of have the same feelings when it comes to these rankings as other people, because I know it's like, you notice that I have not said, okay, there's going to be some hot takes. I usually have to say that in these videos, because even though they're my opinions, sometimes my opinions clash with other people, and sometimes people get a little uptight, and sorry about that. But I think this video has been pretty consistent, sort of, for the most part, on what most people like. Good album. For late 80s metal, good album. That was number 4. Okay. Number 3. When this album came out, I think you all know where we're going with these, right? I mean, it's the first 3 albums. But what order? Not too much of a hot take on this, but maybe a little bit. But okay, so Bark at the Moon. I'll be honest with you, after Diary of a Madman came out and Randy Rhoads was killed, and that was a sad day. I mean, our rock station up here in Maine, when Randy died, they played a hell of a lot of Ozzy, not just with the two albums, because that's all we had at the time for Ozzy, but they were playing a lot of Black Sabbath, even though Randy wasn't on there. I mean, if you saw Ozzy back then, he played Sabbath songs too. But the thought that was going through our minds was, where's he going to go? Is he going to give up? What the heck? What's going on here? I mean, thank you very much. Maybe not quite as good as the first 2 albums, but let's face it, just Bark at the Moon in itself, just that song is just classic metal. Classic early to mid 80s metal. And you know what? The rest of this album is pretty damn good too. Again, when usually what happened is we found out back then, I didn't subscribe to a lot of magazines and stuff. Coming out next Tuesday is, I found out about things coming out on the radio. That's how we found out about things. That's how I found out about things back in the 70s and the 80s. Here's a new song by so-and-so, and this is from his upcoming album titled blah, 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 blah. So, Bark at the Moon. We heard that song from his upcoming album, Bark at the Moon. And we were all like, damn straight, right on. And when that came out, we were all there at our local record store. And it's a good album. I was not disappointed. I was just so damn happy that Ozzy didn't give up. Because even though I didn't know this at the time, that was a horrible time for him. Horrible time for him. Sharon had her hands full with him on that. I mean, the guy was really grieving. I mean, at the end of the tour, by the end of Randy Rhoads dying, I mean, you've probably seen all these. He was kind of treating Randy like dirt because he knew Randy was going to leave. And even though he loved Randy, he was pissed at Randy, and there was all kinds of these weird dynamics going on. And then Randy dies, gets killed. And Ozzy's left with all this guilt and all of this stuff, and the alcohol cranked up. And that was a problem that was throughout the 80s and 90s. But I didn't know that. I just knew that he was going through a lot. But glad to know that he came back and gave us something pretty good. Hopefully you agree. Bark at the Moon, number 3 from 1983. Okay. I don't think these two flip-flopped. I think this is set in stone, and this has always been set in stone. Some people put this one a little lower than maybe even Bark at the Moon, but I still love this album. And Blizzard of Oz. Uh, Unfortunately, the stories that came out after about primarily Sharon and her corrupt business practices, screwing people. I mean, this was originally the band Blizzard of Oz. It wasn't an Ozzy Osbourne album. It was a band, and band. It was a band effort, and it was a great damn band. I never saw Ozzy. You know what's really fun? I've never seen Ozzy. Obviously, I'm not going to see him now. I never got to see Ozzy live. Never did. I saw Black Sabbath, but it was a reunion for the Dehumanizer tour with Dio down in Boston. So I never got to see Ozzy. My son, little twerp, I love him, was stationed out in California. He was a Marine. And on their last tour, Black Sabbath's last full-out tour, he got to see Ozzy and Black Sabbath live. Lucky dude. Jealous. I am jealous. But anyway, most of this is just killer. And to be honest with you, it's sentimental. Even the stuff that isn't maybe completely top-notch on here, one or two things that, you know, it's still, it is what it is. I mean, this is just the first Ozzy album. And there's stuff on here that's classic. I mean, Crazy Train, you know, Mr. Crowley, Suicide Solution, which got him into a hell of a lot of trouble. Great album. Great album. But it is my second favorite. Why? Because Diary of a Madman will always be my favorite Ozzy album. It just is. I think it's Ozzy fully realized. I think Randy Rhoads was moving. He progressed, although he was amazing on this. He had progressed even further. God only knows what that guy would have been. Well, I know he was wanting to go into classical music and take some more classical training, and he wanted to leave metal and rock and roll behind. That was part of the reason why he wanted to leave, and the whole rock and roll lifestyle. He wanted to leave that behind. That's why he wanted to leave the band. But it would have been amazing to see what that guy would have done in the future, because just from this to this, it was just a dramatic, for me, increase in brilliance on Randy Rhoads' part in his writing. The songs on here are just even more consistent and just killer. This is it for me. This is the shits, as a friend of mine would say. This is it. My favorite Ozzy Osbourne solo album, the second one from 1981, Diary of a Madman. Okay. Alrighty. So there you go. There's my ranking of it went a little longer, but I like to talk. I'm sorry. I like to throw in these personal things. You know, it just kind of makes these videos seem a little more like you're in my living room or in my little bedroom / music room, CD room anyway. You know, we're just talking music, you know, and life and stuff. That's kind of how I want these things to be. Anyway, again, thank you to all of you who are watching these silly things. Thank you again, and to all of you who are recently subscribed. Please like, subscribe, share. Let us know what you think. What are your rankings of these albums? What's your favorite Ozzy album? Do you think Scream is the worst thing he's done? Do you love Scream? Let us know. And that's okay. If you love Scream, even though most people don't, good for you. Let us know. That's great. Alrighty, my friends. Until next time, peace and love.